Good evening, everyone. It's Christopher Hale here in Rutherford County, candidate for United States Congress here in the 4th Congressional District. About a month ago, word broke out that there was in the New York Times that there was a massive outbreak of COVID-19 at the Bledsoe County Correctional Facility. As soon as I found out the news, I immediately went down to Bledsoe County and started investigating the issues, which I could as a citizen, and figuring out what the hell happened down there with over 500 inmates, correctional officers, employees, doctors, and nurses who had tested positive for COVID-19. As soon as I got down there and I asked around and put the word out, 2 women came out to the forefront as big people that get to know and understand this issue. And I'm glad to have them again tonight. Jessica Blevins and VIcky Scroggins, who I met through the context of this horrible outbreak and grew to admire their leadership on behalf of Vicky's, on behalf of her partner, an inmate at the correctional facility, and Jessica on behalf of her husband, who is a correctional officer at the Bledsoe County Correctional Facility. It was written about in the Washington Post last week, and I thought they said it well. One's an inmate, one's a guard. Coronavirus, but down their love to get loved ones together and protest against the state of Tennessee. Vicki and Jessica, I think, are very clearly heroes and fighters and people that are working hard for the people of Tennessee. I want to give you a little bit of an update on what I had told you during the last episode on this. I have filed a legal request with the state of Tennessee about what happened with the Department of Corrections on a few questions. The state provided incomplete records, but on Sunday the 31st, they are supposed to give me the complete and unredacted record of everything regarding the COVID-19 outbreak at the Bledsoe County Correctional Facility and at the Trousdale Turner facility, which is a private facility here in Middle Tennessee. So that's where it stands. We should have more updates on Sunday. We're fighting hard on this issue on behalf of the correctional officers and inmates, doctors, nurses, and all employees at state correctional facilities. But I want to get an update from Vicki and on what's going on in Bledsoe in particular, which is in my congressional district. So I'm going to go ahead and bring them on. Vicki and Jessica, can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Very wonderful. Vicki, you can hear me as well?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. Ladies, just give our viewers, many of whom live in Bledsoe County, all of whom live in Tennessee, give me a sense of what's happened since we last talked at the end of April. You've all been involved in protests at the state capitol. You're trying to raise attention, and finally, we worked kind of hard to get that Washington Post story out, and we're finally getting some national attention to what's going on in the state of Tennessee. But can you give us a sense of what's been happening at the facility? And Jessica, we'll start with you. What's the latest that you've been experiencing?
Okay, so I'm getting a lot of backlash from different sides, but several inmates have been taken to the hospital for positive for COVID-19. Most recently, an inmate, specifically Sunday, was taken to the hospital and he collapsed, and the officers were told to tell the other inmates that he had had a heart attack. Got to the hospital, found out he had had COVID-19. There has been no retesting of any inmates, so they're just, the negative inmates are becoming positive now, and they're all just kind of doing everything now. They're pretty much, education's half open. They're pretty much running things semi-normal, except for they are wearing masks now. Medical.
So they are wearing masks. That's correct. But it took them 29 days, if my math's correct, to get masks. So there was a lot of time without masks. But we now have had masks for about 3 or 4 weeks. Is that correct? Then give your take.
Yes.
Okay. Vicki, what about you? How is your boyfriend doing? What has he told you? Your boyfriend, of course, is an inmate inside the correctional facility. What's the update that you've heard from the ground?
Well, overall, things are fairly normal for him, except Jessica was saying, they are wearing the mask now. And he said they're trying to practice social distancing, but they're back at work. I mean, nothing else really has changed a whole lot. You know, it's, again, like she was saying, there's been no new testing. He's told me about a guy being carried out on a stretcher, but they keep things hush hush. Nobody wants to say anything. There's nobody talking about it.
It's interesting. The state health director said that there was going to be retesting of all the inmates about 2 weeks ago. To your knowledge, has that happened? I tried to get word from the state, and I don't think that has happened. But to your knowledge, has that happened? Have we retested the 1,000 plus inmates?
No.
No. Okay, so it hasn't happened. Jessica, your husband, has he been retested?
On our personal time, yes, we have.
But not on the state's time, though.
No, they haven't retested, and they don't intend to retest any inmates.
What's remarkable about that is that I think that they've been giving these public remonstrations, and then they backtrack privately. And what's remarkable about it, and a critique I have, is like it's taken a little bit of time for us to shine a light on this. Like it's, you know, we got in some media coverage, and it's hard because there's a lot of things going on. But it's you all been trying your darnest now for a month straight. Every Friday you go up to the state capitol. Have you gotten any response whatsoever from the state of Tennessee? Has there been any tips from the governor or from the TDOC to have any kind of response to your demonstrations, your demonstrations up in Nashville?
No, there's been basically no response from them at all. No reaching out. We have requested to sit down with the governor. We're hoping he will accept, but as of right now, unless Jessica's heard something, we've not got any response.
Well, and Jessica, the liaison from the governor did email you. Did you all ever actually get a meeting with the governor?
No, I talked to someone on the phone yesterday, and they said they would let them know we wanted to schedule, and they gave me an email to schedule, and I haven't heard anything back. I think it was literally just to get me off the phone.
Sure. Well, and so you all have struggled. We've struggled to get this in the news. What do you want from the government? What do you need right now? What do your beloved need right now to ensure their safety, ensure their well-being? Vicki, you can go first.
Okay. We need to know that there's health care in place. We need to know that there's going to be protocol if this happens again, that they're going to immediately start having the PPEs, but they've not made any long-term changes or anything. And if they have, they're not communicating. We need communication. That's a big thing. But a lot of what we're seeing is they're saying one thing and they're doing another. And how can we have confidence in anything like that? You know, I mean, they're not following through on anything. And they're saying we've got 586 recovered, yet they've not tested and people still getting sick. I mean, that's not acceptable.
And if I understand correctly, the testing has not occurred since the 19th of April. Is that correct? We have not had a single retesting at all. That's correct. Which is remarkable to me because the governor rightly says that, you know, if you are in a situation that is a compromise in the capacity, get tested, find out the results. He's offering, rightly so, he's offering free testing to every resident and citizen of the state of Tennessee. I can go down to Rutherford County Health Center today and get tested. If I want to get tested again tomorrow, I can get tested. So evidently we have a supply of tests. It's not due to lack of supply. It seems to be that it's either a moral choice or an allocation discretion that for some reason the state of Tennessee has said we're not going to retest this population. Jessica, what about you? What do you want from your government?
Well, as of right now, I know that medical staff are furious because the week of June 1st, they're going to send out 1,000 inmates. And these are 1,000 inmates that haven't been retested. And then they're going to bring in 1,000 inmates that are not going to be tested as they come in. And they really just need to retest test. I think testing should be available for any inmate at any time that they want to be tested. I think they need to make cleaning supplies more readily available for the inmates, and they need to apologize. And cooking them a home cooked meal, and it's not, that's not gonna, that doesn't justify giving them this virus.
Well, it's remarkable to me, and it's remarkable to me just in general, and since this nation is that we have leaders who are unwilling to say we messed up, something went wrong, and we have a governor, God bless him, who's a devout Christian. Forgiveness is a big part of the Bible I read on Sunday and throughout the week. It just seems like there's something that's gone deeply wrong, and no one's admitted. We've spun ourselves into 1,000 different ways to cover up what's gone wrong. And if you go to christopherhale.com/TDOC, which stands for Tennessee Department of Corrections, you can see the documents, the insufficient documents the state of Tennessee have given out. It seems to me that they're taking, so they told me they were taking the entire month of April. That's a lot of time to redact, or May. That's a lot of time to redact stuff and get their ducks in a row, because there's probably civil suits coming down the road, and I hope there are. I mean, I hope there are. I've talked to correctional officers anonymously. I've talked to inmates on the phone, inmate spouses of correctional officers. You all know what happened. Like, we have the evidence of what happened. Jessica and Vicki, do you know, has the state of Tennessee, have your beloved been contacted in any way about any kind of investigation from the state of Tennessee whatsoever, or is that not coming down the pike?
No, not in my case.
Jessica, no, not that you've heard of?
We got some flashback from the warden, but other than that, no.
Well, it's remarkable too, because the legislative body, which is back in session right now, that's their job. They're supposed to do oversight of the executive branch of the state of Tennessee, which the DDOC is a part of it. And so, to me, it's remarkable. I don't have any elected power. I'm just a citizen like the two of you. All I can do is go to a court of law and do my best and go through open records requests. But there's 95 men and women who took a constitutional oath to you and your family to protect them and protect the welfare of our people. Why can't one of them, Democrat or Republican, right now, go on the House floor in General Assembly and say, this is wrong and we're going to investigate it? They have a lot more power than the three of us on our little Facebook Live, but they haven't done it. And so it's up to us to act in their void. I want to switch over to a broader topic. I think what the Washington Post story struck me about, honestly, when I first talked to you all, first struck me is that, Vicki, you are a partner of an inmate. Jessica, you are a partner of a correctional officer. And in most people's understanding of the world, these are two communities are juxtaposed against each other. You all are taking some risk, some social risk, some emotional risk, communal risk of interacting together. What has that been like? What have been the sources of strength on that? But speak honestly about the struggles too, and we'll go with Jessica first this time.
Well, that's a tough one. This girl right here, well, I guess over here, is now one of my best friends. And but in the beginning, I was told, don't associate with them people. But when I jumped in, I thought, well, they're all going to love me. They're going to trust me because, I don't look at it as anything special. Being a corrections officer, yes, you have a job to do, but I don't look at it as, I'm not famous or anything. I'm not important. I'm not any better than the lady sitting beside me. But people were like, don't associate with them. And then some of the inmate spouses and loved ones were like, don't associate with her. She's a spy. And I kind of laugh at that, but it kind of got to me a little bit. But all in all, I think that there's not a difference in who we are. We're all equal. And if is not one reason. Everybody I've met has been mostly really nice.
Well, and it's interesting. You all, I talk to y'all almost daily now for the past month. Your singular focus is the men you love. The men you love, that your family. They're your family, and so you're, that love bridges any kind of divide that might exist preemptively, because your husband, your boyfriend, they go into the same situation every day. COVID doesn't care if you're a Democrat or a Republican, if you're an inmate or a correctional officer. It is about geographic proximity. So we're all truly in this together in this global pandemic. Vicki, what about you? What has been the joys, obviously, of working with a correctional officer spouse? But has there been pushback among inmate families and inmate community as well?
Definitely some pushback. I mean, one night about midnight, I get somebody sending me long messages and saying, I don't know how you can be friends with this person, and just on and on. But they couldn't say anything other than she's a CO's wife, And I told them, I don't care who someone is or what they do. I mean, it's the person they are. I want to treat anybody right, I don't care. I said I've got kids that are in all different types of fields and everything. I've got 2 kids that are in the military. My oldest son did 2 tours in Iraq. And I mean, we're all people. And like you said, we're all in this together. And Jessica's brave for coming out like she is, because she didn't have to do this. And I've told people they need to be glad that we've got someone like that on our side. We need more COs' wives or COs speaking up. We need more people on the inmate side, because a lot of them, a lot of people who are incarcerated are telling their spouses not to speak up or not go to the rallies and stuff, because I think they are afraid of any kind of retaliation. I mean, some people's made remarks, I don't want to get sent off. I don't. So there's always that. It's not an easy situation. And I understand. And, no woman that I know wants to go against what her husband or boyfriend might say either. So it's difficult.
It's interesting. So, and I know these are not just stereotypes. There are oftentimes incidents between COs and inmates that probably happen daily. That we even beyond what we know. But it's been remarkable to me, it seems like I get up at 5 a.m., go to bed at midnight. But usually I get calls around between 10 and 12, at night. And so I'll get calls in the daytime from inmates, but in the evening from correctional officers. And they mostly have they care deeply about each other, but on the wide margins they do. And I have correctional officers who tell me, I'm worried about inmate so and so. I've tried to push it up to leadership, and they don't give a damn. And what do I do? It seems that there is a sense, oftentimes through struggle, it seems to me that communities that were against each other find bonding. And I think what we have all talked about in right away, we can talk about the COVID-19 in Bledsoe County Correctional Facility. But I think what we all agree on is something is so deeply wrong with the Department of Corrections in the state of Tennessee. And all COVID-19 did was bring it to light. It existed the day before, and when this pandemic's gone, it will still exist. But we have a government that has failed to take this head on. And what I hope and believe and pray for and fight for if I get elected is that I think by bringing together 2 communities that at least on paper should be opposed to each other, it's going to put it in the face of the governor. It's going to put it in the face of our elected officials that there's something deeply wrong that we have to do here. We have a few minutes left. What's next? And it's hard to know, obviously, what's next, but what are y'all's next plans? What are you hoping to do? What are the next things we should be looking down the road for that, folks can help you on tonight? We'll go with Vicki first.
Okay, we need more people standing up with us. Anybody, if you can get out, and if you can't come and stand up with us, keep calling, keep calling the governor's office, keep calling Tony Parker's office. Let people know, call your congressman, call people, and don't stop. They're hoping this is going to go away. They're giving them hot dogs and hamburgers every once in a while and little Debbie cakes right now. They want it to go away because they were so mistreated during this time. The food they had, most people wouldn't want to give to a dog. So, they want to make it all better, and it's not better. We need something long term. Like you said, there was something wrong before all this, and this has just brought it to light. They need health care all the time. We've had remarks. People drive by and tell us get a job, and they holler out that they've got better health care than they do and stuff. They don't. People don't know what they're talking about with that. Most guys are afraid to go and even ask about seeing a doctor because they don't know when they'll come back if they go to special needs. It could be. My boyfriend went for 1 day of test, and it took him over 2 weeks to get back. It's very flawed in so many ways, and we need more rehabilitation. We need medical care. We need to decrease the population. We're going at like 120% in the state of Tennessee in our prisons, and that's wrong. How are we going to segregate? How are we going to do social distancing with something like COVID if we're that crowded?
Well, it seems to me that Tennessee is obsessed with locking young people up, in particular in prison. We're obsessed with jails, incarceration. Instead of investing so much in jails, incarceration, go to trial cell. It's a for-profit prison. There are people getting rich off inmates and correction officers getting screwed over, and their families getting screwed over. It's a cottage industry built on injustice and decapitating human life and human capacity. It's never been called out in a way is sustained. And even my party, I'm a Democrat, you look through the financial records, these private prison companies, they unload cash to both sides. It's a cottage industry that feeds itself again and again. And it makes it harder for the VIcky Scroggins and the Jessica Blevins of the world to stand up because they're fighting against pure money that just flows out like rain, like rainfall. Jessica, what about you? What particularly should we be focused on? What are you looking to do next? How can we be helpful?
Well, people need to speak out. If you're an inmate spouse, if you're a correctional officer, if you're a correctional officer spouse, if you're a family member, it doesn't matter at this point. We need you to speak out and let us know what's going on, because we can't go farther and fix this or try to fix it and fight if we don't know that we've got some people behind us. And I've got people every day messaging me, inmates, families, can you help my loved one? Correctional officers that are afraid to speak out because they don't want to lose their job. Right now, if my husband loses his job today, it won't be as bad as someone dying tomorrow. And don't be scared of Tony Parker. Don't be scared of these people that are bullying and they think that they're law. These people are tax-paying people just like you, and it's your tax dollars going into those prisons.
Well, it's remarkable too. I mean, let's remember this: that Tony Parker, Commissioner Parker, who I think should resign, is paid for completely 100% by the tax-paying dollars of the people of Tennessee. Every time, every injustice is taking place with the dollars that you and I feed into this system. We're near the end here, and so I just want to say that Jessica and VIcky, we are friends. We met through this. We met through crisis. On the 5th of January, 2021, by the grace of God, I hope, and the voters in a free and fair election, I will become the next congressman for this district, for Bledsoe County Correctional Facility. And as long as God gives me breath to breathe, I'm going to fight for you. I'm going to fight for your loved ones, and we're going to get justice, and we will go to the ends of the earth to do it. And I hope that you come with me on that house floor when I put my left hand on the Bible and the right hand in the air and swear an oath to God and country to defend the Constitution, because you and your family will be at the forefront, because what happened was wrong and we got to fix it. So will you come with me if I'm there on January 5th?
Yes.
Gladly.
Jessica and Vicki, I'm sure we'll talk soon. Thank you all again for joining us tonight. If anyone has questions, they can do so in the comment box. I know Jessica and Vicki scroll through them. They can answer them too. That was Jessica Blevins and Vicki Scroggins. I think it's interesting when I decided to run for the United States Congress. I think I've said this before. It took me a long time to decide, but the coronavirus to me was the straw that really broke the camel's back, because it brought to the forefront that which we have been fighting for time and again. Things that were invisible became visible once again, and in a clear way. And so I am running for United States Congress. I'm running against an incumbent that does not show up. Before the virus came, Congressman Desjardins did nothing to stop it. Now that it's here, he's doing nothing to help us. You know me, and I know you. We're going to win an historic election in 160 days, but we're only going to do it because of you, not me. I can't do it by myself. I can get on these live streams and pontificate and knock on doors, etc., but it's going to be up to you and telling our story to you and your family and getting out the vote. So if you are with me tonight, and I hope you are, I need you to pledge to vote by texting hell yes to 31996. That's hell yes, one word, to 31996. I also need you to help sustain this campaign. I promise you, not a dollar goes to me. It goes to feed this movement, to sustain this movement, to sustain this campaign across 16 counties, one of the biggest congressional districts in the country. We're going to win this election, but it's going to be built on the donations of you and your family. My opponent is funded by rich men in silk suits that ride limousine to work and have jobs at healthcare CEOs that screw over our families. I am funded by you, your mom, and your pop. The average donation is $27.11. But if you can give $5 tonight or $5 a month, I promise you, you're joining me on a mission that will transform the state, bring generational change to Tennessee and America. So for all of you who are struggling tonight, whether from this deadly virus, the inability to find work, a checkered past, or a dim future, I want you to know this. I'm going to walk with you the entire way. Help is on the way. God bless you, and may God protect our troops.